evening. Welcome, everybody, or I guess it's good morning if you're in Australia. I'm Dan Winter, as you know, FractalField.com, FractalU.com, and I'm joined by Tufan Guven, who is our host and interviewer. I'm joined by Jenny Markey, Jennifer Bell, who is coordinating the LucidDreamTeam.com. We're going to have a little update. And our guest speaker for the evening is Patrick Botte. Patrick is the programmer for all of our biofeedback apps, FlameinMind.com, FlameinSound.com. Particular focus this evening is the Bliss binaural beat, the FlameinSound, which is the driver for TheraFi and Quantify and Plasmafire. All the plasma healing systems and the 5 vibes and the new tech, they all use that same perfect implosion sound, which Patrick has done elaborate, extensive work about the perfect implosion sound and the healing and all of the powerful effects of the phase conjugate sound. So that's the real focus this evening. And Patrick has prepared a slideshow for us with some fun background. And Patrick is looking pretty beautiful there tonight. Your background, Patrick. Looking good. So we were just going to do a couple announcements first. Tufan, did you want to just say something about next week? Or
Sure. We still have a lot of classes to go. Next week, we are meeting with myself. We will talk about entangled dimensions and simulation argument, brief history of holographic sciences, advancement of virtual realities, and fractal systems. And then back to Dan Winter again the following week. And then Patrick Botte, Dan Winter, Patrick Botte. And then we have Teresa Burns on the 23rd of April about the powerful hypercube. And yeah, please join us.
Yeah, Teresa is involved in the Ophanim work and the John D work and the Vincent Bridge. So that's going to be a fun one with Teresa. That's about a month away, though. That's cool. So now, let's see. In terms of announcements, then, Jenny, you were going to do a quick update on the Lucid Dream team, were you?
Yes, we've had another rip-roaring week. We have about 54 people, potentials for joining the team. So I ask everyone to be patient. And also, if you still wish to be considered, get into the lobby. I think we've got the link, have we not? Yes.
Yes, at LucidDreamTeam.com, there's a link to the to the Telegram group, and the intro group at Telegram is called the lobby, and then you kind of meet people and get your details, and then Jenny arranges little core groups that actually focus together, which is pretty intense. Yes, go ahead, Jenny, sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. So people have been meeting and greeting in the lobby, so I ask for your continued patience. We're getting different configurations emerging. So we're just allowing that to carry on. And yes, I encourage you to keep on keeping on.
Remember that our lucid dream here is that eventually these lucid dreaming core groups, they can do serious global service on very specific, powerful issues, not just steering tornadoes as a group, but maybe steering disasters. And there's, that's sort of a collective immune system for a planet if we have a seriously coherent shamanic lucid dream team. So this is a beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Jenny. I don't know if Russ, you had any updates there from the Discord group.
Hey guys, no information right now, but
sorry, we lost your voice there. So Russ is updating the Discord software for the discussion group, which is very active at this point. So we encourage you to join the Discord conversation, which is bubbling. It's a good thing. Okay, well, I think that's about it for the discussion. Now, during the presentation from Patrick about the Bliss binaural beat, FlameinSound, FlameinMind, Tufan will just keep track of a few questions, and maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes in or something, we might do a few questions. It's informal. And if you really would like to chat with Patrick, you can as well later on, certainly at the end. So, type your questions in the chat window, but if somebody wants to say hi, this is informal and playful. We're here to have fun. Remember, Patrick has really done deep work about the low frequencies of harmonics of the spine liquid pump and the physics of Bliss, and then he's been deeply immersed in implementing that in this software. We have like 4 or 5 major apps on the App Store. And so Patrick has serious, deep background here. Now, Patrick has a bit of a French accent, but I think that makes him sexy. So anyway, Patrick, it's all yours. Thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to. Yes, try it right now. Go right ahead. I'm going to pin you here on here so that camera's clear. You should be able. Do you have a share screen button on the center bottom there? Yep, it's coming.
Normally it should.
You're on. You're up. It's working. Go.
It's working. Okay,
Yes.
That's fine.
Great.
Great. So you see my picture.
Measure body waves and rhythm.
Okay.
Generate body wave and rhythm. Yes.
Okay, great. So, in fact, well, I have to get rid of this thing.
That's Patrick's beautiful animation of the ventricles there in the center.
Yeah.
And how that ventricle pump works, I find fascinating.
Yeah. Well, in fact, well, to summarize the research that I'm doing with Dan since now, well, a long time ago, more than 50 years, I think. In fact, we are measuring body waves and rhythm, but also try to generate, to regenerate, to recreate the body waves inside the body, the missing waves inside the body. And so this is the aim of our research. And so to be in touch with our body, but we don't want to tell you exactly what to do. We will help you to intuitively find how to do that. That's the aim of our research. And in fact, I will start by explaining a little bit the difference between the 5 apps that we have, because most of the time people are a little bit lost and which one should I use? What's the difference between this one and the other one? And in fact, there are 3 main apps which are called itHRVe, which are linked to heart and blood data, so mainly heart coherence. And these 3 apps, the first one is itHRVe Chakra. And itHRVe Chakra is not an app which is explaining you what's happening in your chakra, but it's explaining you the way you can enter in resonance with your chakra. So the display of the chakra, which are highlighted on the screen and moving from one chakra to the other, it's only the link between the resonance between your heart rate, and the frequency of the different chakra. So the biggest the amplitude of the itHRVe will be, the more you will touch in resonance the different chakra of the body.
And Patrick actually refers to serious literature about that musical key signature of your heart's rate and which gland is triggered. So there's some serious science behind which chakra is triggered by what heart rate.
Yeah, yes. The other ones are itHRVe and itHRVe Stress, which are, well, designed for heart coherence, regarding the discovery of Dan. And also I'm making the link with the sacrocranial wave, because I've learned sacrocranial therapy. And you can see that there is, when you have a beautiful heart coherence, there is a link between the electrical part of the heart and the liquid part. So between the electrical part of the heart, which is itHRVe, and the blood pressure, which is a liquid part. And you can see here, when you are making a beautiful coherence in the heart, there is a perfect resonance between the 2 parameters.
The top in red is the itHRVe, that would be the electrical component, and below the longer wave, the higher wave there is actually the pulse pressure, actually literally the blood pressure, right, Patrick?
Yes, in orange it's but I will explain it a little bit more later, because it's also some part are also included in FlameinSound. And so on this itHRVe app, you have a beauty. After a session of coherence, you get some information, some graph, which are explaining how it was during the session, if you have a beautiful coherence or not, the frequency of your peaks. Well, there are a lot of stuff that you can get, but it's all only related to the heart. These apps. Also in itHRVe, you can make sleep analysis, so 8 hours of sleep analysis, and it can also show you the deep sleep part of your sleep session.
This is not to interrupt, but it's so exciting because, you know, remember that episode of Star Trek when the ship's doctor realized that no one was getting deep sleep and therefore everyone was short-tempered. But the point being that if you get that access to the deep sleep, you also get access to leverage on the dreaming, and that's so relevant to the lucid dream team story as well. It's a wonderful tool.
Yeah, and it's possible to make the analysis in 2 ways. One which is extracted from the heart beat, and the other one which can also be extracted from the movement during your sleep.
It uses the accelerometer in the
we are using the accelerometer of the iPhone or the iPad you place on your bed.
So the movement.
So this is itHRVe apps. And now there are 2 other apps, one which is called FlameinMind, the other one FlameinSound. FlameinMind is dedicated to brainwave and to see the bliss in brainwave, the ratio between the peak and the brainwave. Well, you have a lot of videos and explanation from Dan about it. And in FlameinMind, you will receive for free FlameinSound. So if you want to use FlameinSound and you already have FlameinMind or you have a Muse headset, you don't have to buy it. It's included in FlameinMind. The latest option, which is now in FlameinMind, is the infrawave link between the heart and the brain. So it's in the latest update of the app. Now you can see the relationship between the slow wave inside the brain, which is linked when you make a beautiful coherence in your heart, and you get also the coherence in your brain. This is the animation. It's a recording here that I can show you. You see that in red it's itHRVe. In pink, it's the analysis of the itHRVe, of course, which fit exactly the shape of the red curve. And in white, this is the infra wave of the brain. And you see there is a beautiful correlation between, there are here on the display in opposite phase, but that's the reason. Well, it's just a reason for me to display it much more easily. You see that they're in opposite phase, but in fact they're in perfect phase.
Patrick is deriving from the brainwave analysis the lower frequencies in the brain, called the brain infrasound. There, I believe that's in white. Is it, Patrick?
Yes, and, in white. Yes.
Yes, and so linking that to the heart, the itHRVe down below. Remember, itHRVe. Patrick's referring to pulse analysis, a simple, inexpensive pulse. So they're taking both in FlameinMind. Sorry, Patrick, please continue.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a summary of the different app. Like that, you can see much more easily which one you have to choose for what you really want to do. And now we will go to the FlameinSound, so which is much more related to the sound and to the waves that we can send to the body. And in fact, you have, as FlameinSound is included in FlameinMind, there are 2 possibilities to use the FlameinSound option in FlameinMind. One which is on the lower right button, which will open a window with the sound generator. And the other one, which is the big button here, will make you quit FlameinMind and enter exactly in the FlameinSound app. And then after using FlameinSound app, you will have to quit completely the app and relaunch FlameinMind. Otherwise, it's not possible to go back because you're quitting the app and entering in the other one.
Remember, the FlameinSound app is sound only and inexpensive and drives many things. So on the order of, what is it, $20? Whereas the FlameinMind app with the brainwave analysis is more expensive, around $200. So that way you can have a lot of fun with audio harmonics inexpensively. That's the point here. Yes.
Yeah. So the first thing that you can have in FlameinSound is the real heart coherence empathy trainer. So it's a EKG amplifier, and you can make a recording of a single person or the link of the heart between two different persons.
This is a 2-channel EKG preamplifier, realheartcoherence.com, and the software to drive it is FlameinSound, which is inexpensive. And you can see there that you can actually tell when two hearts link up. This is how we all got excited originally, measuring heart coherence between two people for tantra and empathy. It's profound.
So again, to access it, if you're in FlameinMind, you have to jump in FlameinSound, and in FlameinSound, select emotional balance, and not use the emotional balance which is included in FlameinMind, because this EKG in FlameinMind can be accessed directly with your finger placed on the Muse headset. So here it's but for FlameinMind, it's only one channel, so one person EKG. But with FlameinSound, you have two channels, so you can make a recording of two different persons and measure the empathy between these two persons.
Remember that difference, realheartcoherence.com, is you have the more sophisticated full EKG of two persons with that second order spectrum analysis revealing heart coherence and when they phase lock. And that's much more detailed than just the HRV, which is just the pulse sensor.
Yeah. So the graph you see here, which is moving, so the two persons are coming in relationship to each other, but with their heart. When people are in their head, the second order FFT spectrum that I'm showing here is around 1. But if you go really inside your heart and in empathy, it will be much close to 0.6.
You see,
so
that's
when two people are linked together and in real empathy, they both are in around 0.6, like this here.
It's a beautiful, it's hard to understand how profound that is, but it's a second order power spectra. It's how we originally discovered how to measure heart coherence. So the amplitude at a peak is literally how much your heart is turned to a laser. And then the right left position of that peak is the musical fundamental of your heart rate. And after lots of experience, we find that at the 1.0 position, you're being more stuck in your head or analytical. Whereas when you move to the 0.618, which is actually slightly higher heart rate, it's literally the touchy-feely position. If it's a kindergarten teacher, they're always in the touchy-feely 0.6. So you can actually teach people not just to, have heart coherence, but you can actually teach them from being stuck in their head to moving more toward heart-centered emotion. It's amazing.
But as I mentioned, it's you have to order the amplifier and the wrist.
Because that's a full EKG of two people.
It's a full EKG, which is but which can be used with FlameinSound.
It's literally an empathy trainer. It's literally a functional lie detector. It's quite amazing.
So you see, it's very easy to set up. You see an example here, the small amplifier, which is Bluetooth, and then you have the wrist placed on the arm of the two person. And what is very important, of course, it's looking for each other to actually
feel each other. It's amazing. And their hearts, their breath will entrain, their hearts will entrain. It's a fun stuff to do with a group. It's amazing.
Yeah. So now let's go back to the other part of FlameinSound. So the other part of FlameinSound is a sound wave generator, and it can be used with headphones, normal headphones or bone headphones like this one, but also be used with a vibrating device, which is called FractalU, and also plasma devices.
Like FiveVibes or a quantifier
Quantifier or plasma-fire.
Plasma-fire.
So now I will explain a little bit, well, the whole research that we have done all this last year to try to find the best way to send frequency to the body and to enter in resonance with the body for healing or for helping the body to recover fixed part and things like that. And I will explain the different steps and the different possibilities that we were trying to use. In fact, the body is working like an hologram, and each part of the body will express the whole body. And the best proof was done in 1957 by Tomatis, and he proved that you cannot produce in your voice frequencies that your ear cannot catch. And if you take a voice analysis here on the left and an hearing test here on the right, and if you are making an audio vocal loop, so you're talking on a mic, and the mic is connected to your headphone, and between them you place a filter. And if you're filtering the higher frequency of your voice and send them and filter to your ear, your voice will change. Your voice will also lose higher frequencies.
Wow. And that's Patrick is an expert on Tomatis study. It's very profound. This has implications for autism and all kinds of things. If you can't hear it, you can't say it. If you can't say it, you can't hear it. What does that mean?
Yeah. So you will find a relationship between all the ways that we can measure wave inside the body. They are all related, and you will find the same thing everywhere. This is another example of a voice analysis. The top one is an healthy person. You see that there is no gap in the spectrum, and the lower part is a 18 years old boy which is passing school exam, and you see a lot of missing frequencies. And you can get also the same thing by using the GDV Kirion picture, and you see that this is the voice analysis of a perfect healthy person with a beautiful aura. And on the lower part, you see a lot of frequencies are missing in the aura, a lot of gap, and a lot of frequency which are also missing in the voice analysis. And what is very interesting is that, well, this is an example of GDV pictures which were made before and after entering in resonance with the body. So you see, before there are two gaps here, two bad part in the aura, and after a 15-minute session of scalar wave, you see all the missing frequency are back again.
That would be, in a sense, longitudinal or implosive is another way of saying that.
Yeah.
And the principle is that harmonic inclusiveness equals vitality, literally. So missing harmonics are the problem.
Well, now, I started a long time ago trying to enter in resonance with the body and trying to see if we can recover fixed frequency and fixed part of the body. And there are different people who made a lot of research about the frequency inside the body. And that some of them are using music notes with tuning forks, and it's working fine. And Tomatis has made a small map of the frequency inside the body. The lower part of the body is about 100 Hertz, and the top part of the skull is about 8,000. And O'Share, another researcher, found 10 times less. So it starts also at 100, but go up to 1000. And also Stefan Cardino, which made a lot of tests, and he made a beautiful, really a marvelous book explaining all this research and the different map of the different frequencies of the body. And I really recommend you this book, but unfortunately it's in French for now, I think. And another researcher, which is Paul Nogier, has defined also a map of the body by sending light frequencies on the body. But what he found, it was he got a 100 ratio between the two frequencies that have the same impact on the same part of the body. So it's very amazing, because we have, if we plot here on the body, the different researchers of the different searcher, we have a 10 times difference, or even 100 difference. So my first question, when I was trying to understand it, who is right and who is wrong, and also if you try to send music chords to the body, or music frequencies, you don't see the 10 or the 100 factors, and you don't even see what Dan is talking all the time, which is the golden ratio, which is 1.618. So I will try to understand all these differences. And so you see probably that most of you have already seen this beautiful graph of the equation of Dan, with the ladder of the different steps, which are marvelously linked to what's happening inside our body. You see, you got the Schumann frequency, you got the reference between alpha and theta, you have the breath of the child, the breath of the adult, the sacrocranial wave, and also the frequency or the rhythm of the emptiness of the brain ventricles. So you see, on the equation of Dan, of course you can find the galactic year and things like that, and or the radius of hydrogen, but you can also have all the main frequency which are enter in relationship inside the body.
So again, those are all golden ratio times Planck, and note that includes the Schumann harmonics directly linked to the brainwave harmonics for Bliss, and then the spine liquid pump harmonics. It is amazing.
So what is really amazing is that when we take the map, which was designed by Stefan Cardino, and we are using the frequency of the equation of Dan, it's almost perfectly fit the different chakra frequency which were designed by Stefan. So you see in yellow it's Dan equation, and it's really linked to the frequency that Stefan has defined for the different chakra and different part of the body.
So that would be implosion sound, literally.
Yeah. And regarding the 10 factor, well, in fact, if you take, well, let's say a frequency of 1 Hertz, and you multiply by the golden number, and then you go down by octave ratio, you will have 10 factor. If you can do it in the opposite way also. Also 5 times phi is 11. So it's about also in relationship with this 10 factor. And if I'm comparing with Nogier also an octave and phi ratio, you will find again the 10 factor and the 100 factor. So
That's so relevant because remember the kids who can see without their eyes and Jean-Charles Moyen who I bilocated, it was the trigger moment was when the brainwave cascade had both the octave cascade and the golden ratio cascade up the same ladder, and it's just like they were building a cube in a dodeck, the full star mother inside their head. So the stable implosion requires the cubic and the phi. And so those cascades have to overlay coherently, and this is a clue to how they can overlay. It's amazing.
Yes, and the octave and the phi ratio are in the beta part.
That's right. So that
appear in the beta. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the cascade is discovered between the alpha all the way up the gamma, and the beta is near the center of that, basically.
Yeah. So now, if you come back to music ratio, well, let's see, music ratio is 2, 1.5, 1.2, 1.25, but nothing is relevant regarding 1.618. So, but in fact, if you make a cascade of different frequency, which is related to 1.618, it's not a bad chord, it's a beautiful chord. But if you make the link to the way that the harmonics and music chords are done, it seems that there is no relationship. So I will try to make an answer to it. So let's take a frequency of a C, so Do, of 32 Hertz. So the first harmonic will be again a C. The second harmonic will be a G, and H4 will be a E. So you have a music chord. You have a major music chord.
Oh, yeah.
When you go right on the keyboard of the piano. Okay, now let's do something else. Instead of going up, we will go down to the left of the keyboard. And if we divide the C frequency by 1.618, we get an E. And then again, and we get the G. So the relationship between, that's the reason why when you are making a cascade of golden ratio, it's a perfect chord also. It's a major chord.
That's a point few people have thought about, really. But the CEC there on the bottom right is actually a golden ratio cascade.
Yes.
Very close.
Yeah, very close. But here, it's not this map here on the left. It's not a perfect relationship with harmonics, because they have to divide the interval to fit all the music notes, and it's not exactly the harmonic frequencies. But you don't hear the difference between this very tiny, very small difference. And you have the same thing here with the golden ratio.
That's the reason that's important, is that basically, remember, we found an octave cascade in this lady who was a telepath, and the golden cascade in people like me who can have Bliss. But actually, to be stable, you need both. So you got to put the ladder, 2 ladders together. It's just like building the star mother in your own brain.
Yeah, sure. So now, and what about the 10 factor? Can we find it inside the body? And as I was making a lot of hearing tests with my clients and also voice analysis, I got the idea that if I take a person with a lot of missing frequency in the voice analysis spectrum, normally I should find this 10 factor somewhere. So that's what I'm doing here. So yeah, you see, I'm taking the lower part of the spectrum and I enlarge it and I superpose it on the full spectrum. And the top part is 10-factor relationship with the lower part. And you will see that the missing frequency appear exactly in the same place when we enlarge it at a 10-factor. So this 10-factor, you can find it in the body, and the body is reacting to this 10-factor because it is creating it.
All I can think of is at HeartMath, when I first showed them how to do high frequency analysis of EKG, we kept getting 10,000 hertz just above the crown, and that fits your 8 to 10,000 on the top. We couldn't figure out how the heart, and the heart's cascade was octave based, actually.
Yeah. So what we have done. So the answer to my question, who is right, who is wrong, have no sense. We have to forget really perfect math and try to do something else and apply together the different rules with different kind of metrics. And that's what I have done in FlameinSound. So I'm using that equation. Also, I'm using the 10 and 100 factor and the body, slow body rhythm, which are inside the body, the Mayer wave blood pressure, the emptiness, the frequency of the emptiness of the brain ventricles, the brain and heart link in infra waves. And so I gather all these information and also music and harmonics to enter in interaction with the body. And so we have created a new kind of matrix that we will use to enter in resonance with the body.
I think, Patrick, we should maybe say just a few words what you mean by emptiness of the brain ventricles. Remember when Bentov said the spine liquid pump is ringing the ventricles of the brain like a can of peaches? What Patrick means when he said they relax, they drain.
Well, it's a pump. Normally, when you're healthy and relaxed and not stressed, this pump is working fine. But when you're stressed, this pump is not working anymore. And the frequency of this pump is between, 2 times per minute and can be also lower than this, about one time every minute. And this pump is the spine liquid, which is coming in the brain ventricles.
That was that animation Patrick had at the very beginning.
Yes, it's maybe I can go back.
But just remember that
I can go back to the first one. It's here in these are the brain ventricles here.
Yeah, exactly.
In blue, and this is it's very fast, but that's what's happening in the brain with this pump, or this liquid pump. You see here, but it's very accelerated otherwise because it's about twice per minute or so.
This is the eye of Osiris right there. It's very important. It's all, the whole mechanism of Kundalini is there. So, so that's a low frequency. That's a pump that's working. And remember, up ledger, if your spine liquid pump is working, and that's the root of it, then you can't be depressed.
So we have designed this this new kind of matrix of frequencies, and then we have to test it. And in fact, one of the way to test it was to send the frequency through plasma and measure what should happen in a plant. And so this is the experiment that I have done. And you see here, I will send specific frequencies. I have to play. I will show you an example about 9.8 hertz. So I'm sending it to on the left, you have the plant sensor, and you will see a frequency which will appear here around 10 hertz. It's coming, you see.
Oh.
And this is the reference of the sensor in the room. So you see the plant is really receiving the frequency that I'm sending through the cascade.
The plant likes 10 hertz.
While I've tried with different kind of frequency, we get the same results. It's just the response of the plants to. So it means that the plant is receiving it. So when you place the frequency inside the plasma ball, the plant, like our body, it will be the same for us. We will also receive that's the experiment that I've done here with a few sensitive person. There is a beautiful example on my YouTube channel with Wendy, which is a very sensitive woman, and we place her between the two plasma ball, and we made a blind test. So we were sending frequency of the different chakra and asking her, what do you feel, where do you feel? And most of the time it was really perfect correspondence between.
That's plasmafire.com. So you can, by driving it with FlameinSound, you can selectively trigger the chakras. It's amazing. And that's based on Patrick's research of which chakras are resonating to which frequencies.
So it was a proof that something, but that our cascade is working. So another experiment we have done with Stéphane Cardinaux and his school, in his school, with the LVA, so live vibration analyzer, we have used a group of 12 person, and we measure the aura before and after a session of 20 minutes of the cascade of Dan sent through the plasma balls. And you see this is the group. The LVA was a marvelous device that can measure a group of person, or a single person, but also a group of person. And on the left, you have the image of the aura and the chakra before the session, and then after 20 minutes of the plasma ball, driven by the cascade of frequencies.
And that measurement was related to the GDV, was it as well?
No, it was only LVA.
Oh, that was just Stéphane Cardinaux.
Yes, Stéphane Cardinaux LVA, and it was yeah, because with GDV you can measure only one person. Here it was a group. It was amazing. Yeah,
and the chakras actually lined up. That's the point.
Yeah. So it's an average of all the people in the group.
Wow.
Yeah. So now let's go to the lower right button of FlameinSound, which is also appearing and can be used in FlameinMind. So this part here is working in the same way in both apps. So there are, when you touch this button, you open a new screen and a new display, and you have three options. One which is FractalU, the other one which is one chakra and several chakra. This can be used with a normal headset or a bone conductor headset.
They call it bone conduction. It means it's designed to actually resonate the bone pressure directly, which is, you can even feel it more deeply often.
Yeah, it's short circuit the tympanum. So it sends a sound directly to the internal ear. And it's much more connected to the body than normal sound. Yeah.
Meaning the bone conduction headphones can be more blissful with Bliss binaurals.
It's different. It's different. Yeah. So that when you open this kind of option, you have a beat option button, a shift button, a plus and a minus button with the FractalU option. So the beat can be what we are using completely different beat than the one you will find on the web. The beat which are on the web are most of the time about 40 Hertz, 35 Hertz. And here we are using a beat, so a movement between the two ears, which is related to the rhythm that we have inside the whole body. So the 0.1 hertz, it's blood pressure rhythm, and also we can go down to a very low beat, which is linked to the emptiness of the brain ventricles. And you can also select a shift of 180 degrees between left and right brain, or without shift. And when you use the plus and minus button, you will have different options on the different part of the body. You see, going from the first chakra, the second, the third one, and then you go up to the top of your skull by using the plus and the minus button. So these are the frequency related to down equation. And if you touch this big button here once, you will access to the table. And if you touch it twice, you can select the different frequency inside the table and try to test the different frequency and the impact of the different frequency of the equation of damn on your body. So you can create a beat, you can create a shift, but you have access to all these options.
So that's all Planck times golden ratio, the pure implosion cascade. And Patrick, maybe we could just very quickly do the two questions that can the aura be assessed through analysis of the voice? And the answer is yes. That's called voice analysis. And there's many different software environments to do voice analysis compared to chakras. And that's intimate to Patrick's work for sure. And Patrick, the second question, would this be useful to treat ringing in the ears? That is part of your expertise, right, Patrick?
Well, you have to be very careful if you have tinnitus.
Tinnitus, yes.
Tinnitus, yes, yes. So, well, of course, it's sound. So, and that's the reason why there are two different parts. One part which is to be used with headphones, and another part which is to be used only with vibrating devices or plasma, because it's too higher frequencies and it can be very, very disturbing for your ears. So the best thing is to use the TheraFi, the chakra on the several chakra option with the headphones, and never use the next option, which I will explain in the next slide, which is specifically designed to enter in resonance with plasma ball and vibrating device.
Because that would be too high a frequency and might aggravate things like tinnitus. It is profound here that, you know, I had a friend that actually had a tendency toward an epileptic seizure. And my perception very subjectively was the body needs a climax event desperately, and she was resisting her own bliss effectively. And so if the body can't climax, then it tends to fall into it's many interpretations of tinnitus, but one of them is your body can't climax the ringing process in your own ventricles. So with that hypothesis, it has been subjectively reported quite a few times. But again, this is anecdotal, that things like TheraFi have been very helpful in some cases with tinnitus.
Okay.
Then there's another question from Melissa. She wonders where SIMA therapy fits in or how it compares. She believes that was said to be based on golden ratio too.
Yes, I see the SIMA therapy. People are talking about golden ratio, but I actually don't think Patrick or I know much about that. No, so unfortunately, I don't think we can answer the question simply because Patrick are not familiar enough. Sorry, we apologize. But I see another question there. Thank you, Tufan. Dan mentioned 29 and 47 hertz are ideal. And the 29 and 47 parts of the cascade are available in various parts of FlameinSound. And it is true that the 2947, which is recently reported in the literature to help trigger lucid dreaming, does fit the cascade. And that cascade, as in TheraFi, for example, has been shown to sometimes trigger lucid dreaming. So that does fit. Basically, enabling compression in the aura, in the brainwaves, enables lucid dreaming because that compression makes the aura more centripetal and can then squeeze out the coherent longitudinal, which we think is the physics of lucid dreaming. Hence, Jen's group, luciddreamteam.com. So that is a very relevant question. The other question is, what is the Mayer BP wave frequency? So that is the 0.1 hertz, 10 seconds, which is supposedly the most important frequency in the body, certainly in the blood, and also the center of the LF, and fits my equation perfectly. That's why breathing that famous 10-second breath, triggering that Mayer wave, is very useful to the spine liquid pump and the center of what heart math calls heart coherence. So that 0.1 hertz Mayer wave is very important, and I learned about it from Patrick.
Another question from me. Patrick showed the slide with the GDV analysis, and he said that when the body is introduced to scalar waves, or more correctly, longitudinal waves, with the broad spectrum of harmonization affects the frequencies, and you can measure it with GDV device. I wanted to ask, which therapy was that?
Well, I think that this picture was related to the plasma ball. Yeah, to a plasma fire. Yeah,
Plasmafire.com. So again, that they're actually, it's Laurent who's working with Patrick on that. They do GDV analysis, and basically the short summary was exposure to the Plasmafire.com, which is related to FractalU, did in fact appear in very rather replicably to fix the holes in the aura. Actually, that's the point, which is restored harmonic inclusiveness, which fits the idea of implosion. So it is beautiful. We'd love to publish more of that work, Patrick. But
great. Is it one piece, or is it consists of multiple pieces?
Well, Plasmafire.com is 2 plasma balls basically, and the GDV is, just the standard Korotkov device.
But you already can have result also with sound, but it depends. Here it was a beautiful example because I've sent the exact frequency of the missing part. But if you are using binaural beats related to the chakra part of the body or something, you can already have an impact of the GDV also.
So just the binaural sound alone, in some cases, can help.
So in some case, well, it's less strong, but sometimes, yes.
Patrick and Laurent are doing, they're doing GDV, they're doing live blood cell, and they're comparing the various plasma devices, plasmafire.com and itHRVe, and seeing, it's amazing that we should have another conversation about that. Thank you too.
So the other option is one chakra at a time. And again, you will have, using the plus and minus sign, you can have different frequency. This part is much more related to Tomatis research, and also to frequency of music notes. So what we are doing here is making chords, music chords, and sending music notes to the different part of the body. And then if you use the several chakra at a time, again, the same thing, you will have, but it's less accurate in the different part of the body. It's much more working on a bigger part of the body at the time. But sometimes it's nice to use several chakras, and sometimes it's better to use one. You have to see, you have to check, because every day is different and every person is different. So that's the reason why we are making so many options.
But you are saying clearly, Patrick, for example, if a person wanted to feel something in their heart, you can do it by feeding that heart cascade to plasma or to the binaural sound.
Yeah. You already have a beautiful result with binaural sound. Yes. Now, this is the latest option, which is called plasma and coil. So directly, you will have an advertising. Please do not use this option with headphones, because it will be too disturbing. It could be. I use them without any trouble, but it can be quite disturbing and it's better not to use them, and only use this option with vibrating device, which is FiVibe, and with plasma device.
So basically, to get too higher frequencies into your headphones for the Bliss binaural could be a little bit too intense.
Yeah. So this is FiVibe. In fact, it's 2 vibrating devices that you can place on the different part of your body, and it's relaxing a lot because with the table, which is included in the app, you can select the part of the body you want to work on, and the specific frequency will be sent through the vibrating device.
They're amazingly powerful. Actually, Patrick, is it okay if we just do a brief mention of our upcoming? So is it okay if I mention? So Patrick,
yes.
So this is just a brief mention so that, the plasma devices are a bit expensive and we're working to make that more economic. But in the meantime, we've designed and soon to release, we take a piezo speaker. So it's a piezo vibrator. And then we put a super dielectric, a shungite related, and you get this amazing vibrating pair. And you put this same frequency series in these, and it's very dramatic. For example, pain reduction in a sore knee and all that kind of thing. So there's a new version of this where the vibration is piezo through a super dielectric like shungite, and you can still focus that electrical implosion dramatically and very inexpensively. So Patrick and I are breaking into other areas, ways to do this powerfully and inexpensively. Going to be called piezofire.com. Coming soon.
Coming soon, yes. Yeah.
Sorry, Patrick.
We still have to make a few tests, but it looks very interesting. Yeah. So the next one is the plasma fire. So two plasma ball or quantify. The app can drive both.
Yeah, and those devices, plasmafire.com and Quantify, are clearly the most powerful way to use them is to use FlameinSound to drive them. Clearly, the pure implosion. It's very powerful. Many documented, you can see at the Quantify website and the Plasmafire website. And thank you also to Shelley and many friends and Michael.
So you see an example of very, very low frequency with these. So it can really drive from 1 Hertz up to 16,000 Hertz. And you see the best example is here, it's 2 Hertz between and a shift between the 2 balls. So you see the movement is one is on and the other is off.
It's part of the power of plasma fire that you can modulate that infrasound to very low frequencies.
Very low frequency. This is another example with another kind of plasma device, plasma ball device. So you see when one is up, the other is down, and but it's also 2 Hertz.
So we're finding that when you can get those low frequencies into your modulation, you get a deeper grounding experience. It is.
Yeah, and it's very important to have access to this lower frequency. That's the way that what I've just shown now is the way that I've tested that everything is perfect in the ball before shipping. That everything is okay, because if this low frequency is working perfectly, everything is fine.
A question here, is it possible to create an acoustic space that could fit multiple people that would have the same effect as binaural beats? We know that group experiences with FractalU infrasound has been proven very powerful for group meditation. Mauricio was just talking about that in Paraguay. So this kind of thing with groups can be enabled nicely as a group gathers around the resonating plasma systems, for example.
Yeah, but with sound, it's not working. Because when you are using binaural sound, you must use them with an headphone. You cannot use them with a speaker.
That's right. In other words,
otherwise you will lose part of the
right.
beat, and also the mixing of the 2 sounds is awful.
Yeah, so that was the point. They originally found that binaural Bliss you had to do it with headphones because the heterodyning was happening literally inside the liquids inside your head. So, if you want that Bliss power of infrasound, you have to do it with headphones. Whereas if you do it with plasma, then you have options with groups. That's the point.
Yeah, plasma, it's working fine. Yeah.
And there was another question, is the plasma device similar to Royal Rife? We know that the Rife device used a heteron cascade. And in fact, they discovered some golden ratio, which led them to Lakowski. But that is a bit of a complex question. I don't think we're going to do that in detail here. Another question, Patrick, is the goal of charging your chakras, are you to try to get your chakras to remain at 100% all the time? Well, I think it's like saying, obviously, some people realize that there's, they're not feeling much in their heart, or they're not feeling much in their, the lower chakras. So if people kind of tend to know where they would like to have that intense feeling. And the beautiful thing here is you can select which chakra to help trigger. It doesn't mean it's going to be on 100% of the time, but it certainly helps balance, and people know which part of their body they would like to feel. Sorry, Patrick, we've interrupted you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Welcome. So when you to get access to this option, you select the big button with itHRVe, and you go up to coil and plasma. When you receive the coil and plasma, you have a lot of different. Well, I just already explained we're using the sacrocranial rhythm and so on, and you can access also to the beat for the different frequency through the different frequency. And when you are using the plus and minus button, you can change the kind of cascade you're using. And if you select the minor, once the minus sign, you will change the beat also. You see, normally we are using a beat of 0.1 Hertz and going down to the lower beat frequency of the brain. And this is used to enter in resonance with the different part of the body. Now, if you select theta alpha option here with the plus and minus button, the beat frequency will change, and it will not be related anymore to a beat frequency which is related to the rhythm of the whole body, like the pressure, blood pressure wave or emptiness of brain ventricles, but it will be the beat will be related to the brain wave. So you can have higher alpha or lower alpha beat, or also go down to theta. And if you are using the theta beat, it's really nice to induce lucid dream.
Ah, it's powerful. Now remember,
you're just on the limit, the lower limit of the alpha, and you're already in theta. So this is normally the trigger to access to lucid dream.
That's amazing. Remember, when Patrick says beat, he means the frequency difference between the right versus the left. Whether
yes, music beat, yes, the difference between yeah.
But this is so cool that
so it's a movement. It's a movement from left to right, which will be. If it's 4 Hertz, the beat frequency of 4 Hertz, it means that it will do this movement 4 times per second.
And remember that if you know you're missing alpha, or you know you're missing theta, you can actually work on it this way.
Yes, and we are really using, and we have incredible result with the theta here in the plasma ball on a meditating session.
And remember that the theta, that below alpha, is said to be, quote unquote, access to the deeper unconscious, related to the idea of lucid dreaming.
Yeah. It's a trigger. It's the trigger to jump to another state. Yeah.
which is a wider array, the lower frequency.
Yeah.
It's interesting in me, you know, years of Kundalini, I can make huge theta, and I have some clairaudience and, you know, ancestor memory. I can do that, but I'm not making much gamma. So I know where, without the gamma, I don't get the seeing without their eyes and the clairvoyance part, but I do get the clairaudience. So, you know, where I have to work, it's the other end, but you can pick where you want to work. That's the point.
Okay, so you have a big button at the top right, and you have access to a table of the different part of the body. It will be displayed on the display on the body, where in which part of the body it's working, and
that's the power of this device.
A lot of option. You can do make turn the frequency, change the beat frequency, because it's crazy, but the body knows the the different step of the equation of Dan, from the frequency of the blood pressure down to the emptiness of the brain ventricles. And it's amazing, because if you change the beat frequency going down and down and down, the body catch it, intuitively catch it. It's amazing. And so there are a lot of options that you can select. You can create a sequence of different frequencies. And what we are doing is to start with Schumann frequency, and then we go one chakra to the next one during about 20 to 25 minutes, and selecting one chakra after the other and going up. And it's amazing. Very, very, very beautiful result.
That's the power of the system. You have one part of the body, whether somebody has a pain in their knee or having one part of the body has an issue, you can pick it and work on it very directly. Yeah. Amazing software.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then you can load the sequence you have created. Well, I don't. Everything is explained on the website. There is a manual explaining all this stuff, and you can update the sequence afterwards. Well, it's not. Well, now what is very important, and then I will help. I need your help then, because we were at the beginning using the cascade design with your equation, and then now we have introduced a new cascade, which is also linked to Dan equation, but which is a little bit different, and it's for now already available in FlameinMind app, and it will be available soon in FlameinSound also. But if you have FlameinMind, this option is already present, but it's not present in FlameinSound alone. And so this new cascade, in fact, it seems that there are two ways, but I think Dan, you can explain better than me. There are two ways to define the Planck.
Right. Remember, the idea here is to get pure implosion working. It's very simple, which is pure charge collapse, which is the whole point of getting centripetal. And that drives out the center of the longitudinal. So originally, it's Planck times integer exponent's golden ratio. And in Planck length, that's very clear. There's no ambiguity. In Planck time constant, it expressed two ways. It's a simultaneous dimensional solution of Planck, which achieved by a dimensional solution of c, the speed of light, Planck's energy constant, and the gravitational constant. And that dimensional solution resulted in the Planck constant. And there's two ways to derive that. One is called h bar, which is basically divided by pi, which means, you know, speed around the circle, then the speed across the diameter of the circle. So if you use the value of h bar for Planck time instead of classic h in the dimensional solution, you have two different numbers for the value of Planck time. And there's a lot of discussion in the literature. So it's either like the diameter or the circumference of that Planck turn. And so the h bar derivation of Planck time in the equation produces a slightly different harmonic series. And we've done extensive work on analyzing which musical series, either h or h bar for Planck time. So there's two frequency cascade equations. And in many of those experiments, and Patrick is leading that, it turns out the h bar derivation of Planck time for the frequency cascade is even more powerful And so that's the context here. And by the way, those numbers are actually in the articles on the website, fractalfield.com/conjugate gravity. You can see those equations and the numbers that result. So you have two frequency cascades for implosion based on time. And this cascade 2 here is we're just implemented in the software, and many reports that it's even more powerful. So there's some.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, the response. We have tested with very sensitive person, and they're all saying that when we are sending a frequency regarding a chakra, they say with cascade 2, it's more a point. Not, you see, with cascade 1, it's like a place, a part of the body. And with cascade 2, it's much not accurate, but a precise point.
Like more focused.
Yeah, more focused, yes, okay. Now, it's amazing because when we are using your full cascade, it seems that it's better to use the old cascade, the old cascade. Not when your full cascade, well, that's the response that we have now, but we still have to investigate. But both are working, and sometimes some people prefer one and on the other. We still have to investigate a little bit. But now there will be the option of both of them to drive the plasma ball. Yeah. Okay. So now the last part of FlameinSound. Well, of course, there is a way to generate frequencies, but it's also very interesting to have the feedback of what's happening inside the body. And with FlameinSound, we only have art sensor. And again, if you have FlameinMind and you want to have access to this part, you have to select the FlameinSound and quit FlameinMind. Okay, so as I explained in the beginning. So there are two sensors which are very nice to use with the app. The one which is a Berimet BM1000 and which will give HRV and PPG. If you are using a polar chest strap, you will only get HRV.
The reason is because the PPG is a blood pressure analysis. You only get the blood pressure if you can analyze the change in the curvature of the amplitude of the peaks, whereas with the polar chest strap, you don't have a differential in that amplitude of the peaks. So you can't actually see the blood pressure wave.
Okay, and also what's happening in this app, because we are sending some wave of some music waves, the app also take into account the shape of the beat that we are sending in the wave. And this is in red here, it's HRV. In orange, it's PPG pulses, so the blood pulses, and you see it's going up and down according to the Mayo wave, the sacrocranial wave. But you will have also in green the shape of the music or of the sound that we are sending to the body. And so this is a small video explaining the. So you first have to make a scan. So to make a search on the sensor, you make a scan, you select the sensor. And once, if you are using the Berry, you just receive immediately the PPG pulses. Then you go to the analyzer, you select a live session, you press start, and immediately you have the heart rate variation.
So it's a changing amplitude.
Then you can select the sound, lower right button, you press play, and then you go back to the analyzer, and you will have in green the beat frequency which is induced by the music. And so now you can also, as it is a PPG sensor, this example, you go to the display and you select the PPG pulse and the Meyer wave also. And like that, you will see that, okay, now the Meyer wave. So in green, you have the beat inside the music you're sending. And you will see, well, you can move the screen if you want to change the time base. But what's very interesting is that okay. You see, in green, it's the beat, the beat frequency inside the sound that we are sending, and HRV is in red, and you have the Meyer wave in blue. And you will see that after a while, your body will enter in resonance with the beat frequency of the sound. You see, that's what is happening here. In green, the sound, and in blue, the Meyer wave. And they are superposing. So there is a resonance which is created between the beat frequency of the sound and the heart enter in resonance with the beat frequency of the sound.
It's so profound. I think we need to say that what Patrick means by PPG there is that if you look at something like the finger clip, where you get a difference in the amplitude of the peaks of the pulse movement, that change in the curvature of the amplitude between the peaks puts a long wave on the shorter wave. And that long wave is the change in blood pressure, effectively, called PPG. And that's what enables you to see the Meyer wave, that longer wave. And so you can see the actual entrainment with the infrasound that you're feeding in the Bliss binaural, and your body is literally tuning into the Bliss from the Bliss binaural, and you can see it in the blood pressure pump. It's a beautiful, powerful thing.
Yeah. So this is one the option related to data acquisition from the heart in FlameinSound. Yeah.
So
okay, I think we have. I have explained all that I wanted to explain today. I think that I hope everything is much clearer now. And if you have any questions, so.
I think, Patrick really has plumbed the subtleties of this and the power of being able to do this with the biofeedback and with something inexpensive like itHRVe.com, for example. The power of that is incredible. And there's a lot more support information at Patrick's website. It's craniosacral-app.com. Patrick has all the details. We should put that link in here, actually, Patrick. And so then I guess we turn to some more questions, right?
Yes.
Okay, Jennifer asks, once the lucid dreaming team is running coherently, can we organize whole group research to record and receive biofeedback on our synchronizing and traveling?
Well, if a few people in the lucid dream team get the inexpensive itHRVe.com working, and we're using the finger clip, for example, we could take a couple members of that dream team and see them in train. That could be quite interesting. In fact, Patrick, do you want to say anything about the experiments you did on using this with groups, with HRV with groups, briefly?
Yeah, but with HRV, in fact, it's not easy because for now, the app cannot receive more than one person at a time, and it's a little bit a dream that I've started working on a few years ago to use a few sensor and get all the information on the same app.
But in the meantime, people could actually take turns displaying their screen. If a couple members of the lucid dream team were doing HRV, they could visually compare the two screens, for example. So there is,
when they're in the same room, yes.
Or even over Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Yes.
Oh, it says Dan undoubtedly has regular access to plenty of gamma. Well, I'm not sure about that. But Tufan, did you have any more questions you were picking?
Yeah, we have a couple.
Go ahead.
So what is the least Apple device that can be used with the apps?
In other words, which iPhones are supported, basically? Patrick, do you want to?
For FlameinSound, normally I have an iPhone 6, which is still working fine.
Which is great. So if you can go all the way back to iPhone 6.
iPhone 5, you have to forget it. Yeah. But iPhone 6 is still working, and of course the latest one, yes.
Yeah. So it's basically, it's true that all of our biofeedback apps are iOS only, and means basically iPhone, iPad, and iPad is fabulous with the brainwave FlameinMind.
Yeah, it's working with iPad. What we have, some probably, but I cannot check everything. But it seems that with the latest iPhone for iDrive, there should be some trouble with the camera, because when we developed the app, there was only one camera. And now there are 3 or 4 on an iPhone. So where to place the finger, and I think it's much better to use a Bluetooth sensor like the Berry sensor or PolarEdge strap.
So what Patrick is saying is that, remember, we developed that you could, without having an external device, no chest strap or no finger clip or ear clip, that you could put your finger on the camera light, and the feedback from that light, which is finger plethysmogram, the penetration of the light through the blood, and the blood pressure there will then create that pulse wave. So you could just use a camera light to measure the pulse, which, for short periods is actually quite a bit of fun, and you don't have to buy anything. But what Patrick is saying is, for the very recent iPhones, that feature may not work. But generally all the other
could not work. But also it was not very accurate, because you have to learn how to place exactly your finger, not to move your finger. It's not easy.
It's a fun way to get started, though. You can have some fun.
Yeah,
on the newer phones. It's because the camera is more complicated. Okay, any more questions, Tufan?
Olga asks, are all low frequencies working the same? For example, is 0.5 hertz, is it equivalent to 0.1 hertz?
I don't.
Well, the 0.1 hertz is most important in this sense, called the Mayer wave, because they realized it was the dominant drive. It's the most natural resonance frequency of the blood pressure, 0.1 hertz. Therefore, it's the most fundamental resonance frequency of the spine liquid pump. Therefore, it is the most fundamental resonance frequency of the heart rate variability, being called the LF component. It's all centered around that 0.1 hertz, which fits my equation perfectly. So there are some of that infrasound frequencies more important than others. The point Patrick was making was that many of these vibrator devices, et cetera, can't deliver these really low frequencies. And it's the really low frequencies down below 1 hertz that have so much grounding leverage. It is important.
And what is the Mayer wave frequency?
Yeah, well, the Mayer wave near 0.1 hertz fits, well, my equation, Planck times golden ratio, comes out to 0.0959, just for your information, very close to 0.1 hertz. So it is implosive, clearly, and it's well recognized in all medical literature that Mayer wave is the natural resonance frequency of the blood pressure. It's as a ringing bell, that's one of the most fundamental frequencies of the blood pressure change as a ringing bell, and therefore is the key of the spine liquid pump and the key of the breath frequencies. It's the centerpiece of all heart rate variability research, which is the most studied phenomenon in all of medicine, is HRV. So Mayer wave is something to learn about. I started from Patrick. Did you want to say anything more, Patrick?
Yes. Well, so the Mayer wave, it's an average. So 0.1 hertz, or also can also be, we can say 6 times per minute. It's the same thing. It's an average, and if you measure it when you wake up, at midday, the afternoon, it will be a little bit different. And it will be a little bit different also according to your state. So if you're perfectly healthy, it should be, let's say, 0.1 hertz or around 0.1 hertz. But it's always, it's not a fixed frequency. That's the biggest trouble that we have with HeartMath. In a living person, you know, during the first 10 seconds, it will be 0.1, and well, let's say no. It's easier for me to explain it with cycles per minute. So, during the 10 first seconds, it will be 6 per minute, and then the next 10 seconds it will be 6.1, and the next 10 seconds it will be 5.9. So it's always moving because your body is living. It's always changing. And so it's the 0.1 hertz, it's an average. And also what we have noticed regarding the sacrocranial wave, because it's this 0.1 hertz is the frequency of the sacrocranial wave, when people are very tired or at big trouble, this rhythm is tends to go to lower frequency. And if you have inflammation or some kind of disease, it will increase. So the 0.1 hertz is for quite healthy person, but it can change from one day to the other for one person, and also it's related to the health of the person. So autoimmune illness, you have a very high rate.
Maybe, Patrick, you want to close your screen share so we can see your face better. But just to say, in the conversation when we were sort of criticizing HeartMath Institute, where they say 0.1 hertz is the only definition of heart coherence, that you make 0.1 hertz, they say your heart's coherent. And we said, well, wait, that's not quite correct. Heart coherence is harmonic inclusive and not just one frequency, but it does start with 0.1 hertz. The point we made was that the 0.1 hertz can become harmonic inclusive, specifically when you use the golden ratio, because that allows the harmonics in the cascade to be included non-destructively. So that's the whole conversation. And that conversation is at realheartcoherence.com in detail.
And would breath of 5 seconds in and out match the Meyer wave?
That's right. 5 seconds in and out is a 10-second breath wave, and 5 seconds in and out is the basic fundamental. It's a good place to start. Absolutely. That's it. And we even find, as Mauricio reported, even to do that as you're beginning with plasma therapy is a beautiful way to get a deeper session.
Yeah. So normally, well, it's easier to say 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, but most of the times when you respect and you're connected to your body, when you breathe in, it's about 3 seconds, and then you breathe out during 7 or something like that. It's not exactly the same breathing and breathe out.
If you're really relaxed, it's a difference.
The duration of breathing and breathe out is about 10 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be 6 in, 4 out, or something like that. But yes. By the way, I put all the websites now in the chat window.
Oh, thank you, then. Yeah.
Tufan, were there more? How are we doing?
2 more. How are you measuring these frequencies when testing plants, and how does one buy an LVA?
Yeah, Patrick, a short report on your results with plants.
Yeah. Well, you need an EEG amplifier, and then you connect what I have done is to place an electrode on the roof or in the foil, and one on the leaf. And then I get, well, you need a very big amplifier and some filters, and then you get the EEG of the plant, let's say like this.
We work with Cleve Baxter years ago, and now at Dom and Her, they're doing this kind of work too. But plant polygraphy is a profound way to do that. Even in my days with Marcel Vogel, we were doing plant polygraphy. But the plant does feel, and Patrick has made plants grow, I can tell you from personal experience.
And what was the other question?
How does one buy an LVA?
Oh,
I think it's not available anymore for now. But the last touch that I had with Stefan, he said that a new one will be available quite soon. But as far as I know, maybe it's still possible to buy, but it's not anymore from Stefan Cardino. Maybe you can check on the web, but I know that he doesn't sell it anymore.
unfortunately.
Okay. And there was a question from Melissa a while ago. What effects does it cause when you use the shift option? This should be related to one of the apps, I guess.
The shift option was the heterodyne between right and left channel, or was the phase delay, Patrick?
It's a shift. It's a 180-degree shift between left and right.
Ah, yes. So
the two frequencies are in opposite phase.
So what, remember, the original concept of phase conjugation, you got the two opposing pine cones, they had to be 180 degrees out of phase. And so that's the normal shift, which allows the mirrors to be conjugators, which is what makes it implosive. So that shift is something you can play with in the app. It's powerful. Well, good, folks. I think we had a lot of fun. This is a very deep subject, but the core element here, which is basically to induce implosion in your body, you have powerful tools to try it. And when you're playing with the FlameinSound app, you have very inexpensive options. That same Bliss binaural beat, we say, is the world's most powerful Bliss binaural, very inexpensive with FlameinSound, is precisely what drives the 5 vibes, the plasma fire, the quantify, and indirectly the therify as well. All of our implosion tech is based on that same software, which Patrick has pioneered here, and it's available to you very inexpensively. And now that you can actually modulate that to pick your chakra, would you like to feel it in your heart, dear? The power of this is amazing. And you can put that in the plasma fire and the quantify, and now it will be the piezo fire and the 5 vibes. So to understand the power of implosion sound and feel it, the options here are powerful. It's a truly useful and fun. And I'm so grateful that Patrick has been with us all these years doing this attention to detail. It's amazing. So any final questions or thoughts? Anything we missed here?
We are all good.
Yeah. So we want to thank you for your intention. Oh, where to buy the GDV device? The GDV now is at biowell.eu. I believe they call it BioWell now. We worked with Korotkov for years. And it is amazing that Korotkov and I agreed that when he measured fractality in the aura, it's exactly what we're measuring by this charge radiance in space, which is the life force measure at FlameinMind.com, which we didn't cover today, but it's very relevant. So when you use that EEG high gain preamp to measure life force in space, for example, measuring biologic architecture, Korotkov was in total agreement that what he called fractality in the air, the way they measured sacred space for ancestors, is exactly what FlameinMind.com measures in its life force measure, which we will be discussing in other events upcoming. So the power of these things is amazing. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's been wonderful. Thank you, Patrick, for such a deep.
Thank you, too. Thank you, too.
We had fun.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Tufan. And we'll see you soon, Jenny, in the luciddreamteam.com. And thank you, Russell. Thank you, Shelley.
And thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
We had some fun. And the film will be up soon on YouTube. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank you, Dan.
Bye.
Thank you.
Sweet dreams, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Blessings.